Police are on the hunt for a highly organised gang of professional shoplifters responsible for stealing at least £73,000 worth of champagne and luxury items. The National Business Crime Solution described the Mafia-style operation as structured like a business, with the gang targeting champagne to supply the booming black market in mainland Europe, where shortages have driven up demand. Known as the Champagne Gang, these thieves typically work in teams of 3, staying connected via Bluetooth headsets to coordinate and avoid security staff. Blending in with regular shoppers, they discreetly place bottles of champagne into trolleys or baskets. One gang member deliberately triggers security alarms to distract staff, allowing another to exit the store with the stolen goods. Sarah Bird, head of local services for the NBCS, explained that the gang operates with a strict hierarchy. Leaders issue orders, whilst low-level members are paid to carry out these thefts. The group is exploiting a champagne shortage that emerged 18 months ago, following a post-COVID surge in demand and poor crop yields. According to Sarah Bird, gang members are sent to specific areas with a shopping list of high-demand items, earning a daily wage for their illegal activities. The Champagne Gang is one of 63 organised crime groups identified by the NBCS as responsible for stealing over £2.4 million worth of goods in the past 5 years. Of these groups, 26 are based in the UK and Ireland, whilst the rest primarily come from Eastern Europe. The Champagne Gang itself originates from Romania and has been linked to 60 shoplifting incidents across the UK, from Gateshead to Bournemouth. The NBCS, which works with over 100 companies to tackle retail crime, began tracking the gang in early 2023. Since then, their targets have expanded beyond champagne to include other drinks and high-value meats. In response to new anti-theft measures from retailers, the gang has now adopted its tactics. They initially used trolleys to steal goods, Bird told the BBC, but when stores introduced technology that locks trolley wheels at certain points, they switched to baskets and bags. The gang is even believed to conduct training sessions. One shop in Harrogate reported that 7 members participated in a theft, likely to train new recruits in their methods. According to stats, shoplifting has soared across the UK, and commentators on GB News have posed the question, is theft out of control?
Now, a High Court judge has praised the bravery of post office staff who managed to disarm a thief who tried to rob their workplace.
Yeah, it's quite dramatic. This footage here shows the thief brandishing an imitation gun. They didn't know it was an imitation gun, described as indistinguishable from a real weapon. They demanded that one of the workers fill a bag with money.
Well, you can see then the staff at the Nissa local store in Dunfermline jump in, disarming the thief, managing to wrestle the pistol, what they thought was a real pistol, out of his grasp, and then beat him to the ground.
Yes, it's quite a contrast to some shoplifting episodes I've seen recently, where people just sort of walk in and walk out, take what they want and leave. Anyway,
look at that action.
Yeah, that's pretty
proper.
dramatic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sadly, this is an increasingly common occurrence. So is theft like this in the UK completely out of control? And should you, as a shopkeeper or a shop assistant, actually bother taking, these things into your own hands?
Well, joining us to discuss this is the retired Scotland Yard detective Mike Neville. Mike, first of all, your reaction to this pretty extraordinary footage?
Well, I mean, they're very brave, aren't they? And I think it comes out of increasing frustration that, people just coming into a shop and taking what they want. But, of course, I'd never recommend this. I mean, I dealt with a case in Australia, helped solve a murder in Australia, where similar sort of circumstance in a jewellery shop. An elderly man, they started fighting a drug addict over a $25 ring, and he was stabbed through the heart. So these people just don't care. You've got drug addicts who don't think of the next hour in their mind, the next 30 minutes, and they will just kill somebody if they can. Unfortunately here, as you said, it was an imitation firearm. But well done, the shopkeepers and the lady behind the till there. They did a great job in detaining him and stopping doing anything else. But other people have got to be careful if you ever consider doing this.
I mean, this chap here, this man, was trying to get the money from the till. But when it comes to people just walking into a shop, picking up what they want and leaving, they seem to go undisrupted a lot. I mean, I won't say where or when, but recently I was in a shop and there were 3 separate shoplifting incidents while I was in there. The staff couldn't do anything, really, because why on earth would they want to put themselves in danger? There weren't any police officers around. People just walk in, take what they want, and just walk out, as if nothing's happened. I mean, it's actually crazy.
It is mad, but it's the shop workers will be even told, they'll be told, do not intervene, because if they get injured, they won't be insured and things like that. But the real problem here is that the character in Dunfermline there, that drug addict who did the attempt robbery there, he had a previous conviction for a similar offence. I have no doubts that he's got probably 20, 30 convictions for different crimes which involve, because it was all to do with the drugs debt. And a lot of the people involved will be drug addicts. And if these people were put in prison for the substantial sentences, then they couldn't be doing these crimes. If he'd been put in prison for a proper sentence when he did brandish the gun the first time, he wouldn't have been in that shop frightening people and committing that robbery. That's what we need, proper prison sentences for people who commit lots of crime.
It's just kids as well. I mean, just kids coming back from school on their way home, just walking into a shop, picking up some sweets, a sandwich and a drink, and just walking straight out. I mean, if they get away with that, will that encourage them to then pursue more criminal activity?
You're absolutely right, because what's happening now, of course, is that people are seeing, as you've seen, that you can just walk into the shop and take what you want. And I spoke to two old ladies who work in a shop near me, and she said every day the same people come in, steal the same things, and they're stealing the goods to the value of what these ladies are working a 10-hour shift for.
Yeah.
You know, and so society starts to break down when following the rules is the stupid option. And that's why we need to get a grip of this crime, because it may seem low level, but as you say, it leads on to other things, because when somebody does try to stop them, then they become violent because they feel entitled to steal, and it becomes a robbery. And that's where society is in a bad place.
And Mike, I'm so glad you mentioned that so often it's the same people who are known to the shopkeeper, people who might even, their picture might be up in the shop, and yet they come in, swan in, and the police don't do enough because it's below a certain, I think it's a £200 threshold where the police just say, oh, forget it. And it is so frustrating. We come back to this point time and time again on this show. So often, such a large proportion of all crime is done by such a small proportion of criminals. There was a remarkable case of a car crash in Ireland where some people who happened to be burglars were killed accidentally in a car crash. And the number of burglaries in that area of Ireland completely collapsed, all because these 3 or so people were taken out by chance. I mean, what can be done? What can be done to find and detain or dissuade these repeat offenders?
Well, you're absolutely right. So the 9% of people are classified as hyper-prolific criminals. So those 9% commit 50% of all crimes. So they need to be targeted. What the police don't use, for example, is CCTV. Nearly every one of those thefts, many people, 40% of people have a CCTV or Ring doorbells in their homes. If these things were used properly with other forensics like DNA and fingerprints, you could identify these people for not one crime, several. So when they go to the court, they can't just say, oh, it was all a big mistake. No, it's not a big mistake. You've done 10, 20 or 30 of these thefts or burglaries. And then they should be locked up. And we should have no one on the street who's got 20 previous convictions. There are people wandering around who've got 100 convictions. Now, that's 100 times they've been caught. That means they've probably done about 10,000 crimes. And it's me, you, our families and society who have to put up with the misery that these people cause. And while they're behind bars, they can't cause that misery. It's simple, really.
Well, that is quite simple. Mike Neville, thank you very much, as ever. Retired Scotland Yard detective. Great to get your take on this. I mean, Sharon says we have this every day at our store, and there's nothing we can do. Police will not prosecute unless the goods are of a value of over £200. Exactly what you said. I mean, it's so depressing. If now being a shop worker, a shop assistant, a shop owner is now a dangerous job. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it?
And these burglars, these thieves, are not stupid. They will go and they'll steal £150 worth of goods. They'll steal £180 worth of goods because they know that then the police won't chase after them. I mean, that threshold is, in my view, a complete disgrace. I mean, why have we decriminalised a certain level of theft in this country. What an extraordinary thing to have done.
Or just these teenagers who think are so entitled that they think they can just walk into a shop and just take what they fancy. Just take it. Oh, I fancy some Percy Pigs today. Oh, I fancy some Starbursts. No.
And
Anyway.
Yeah, seeing that all that CCTV footage does sort of boil the blood, really.
Yeah.